Yeah, you too.
James Basile,
Yes, Brian. I don't know. Was here.
Andy Dennison,
Present.
Lydia Patty Ruffini. Here. Chris Petrus,
Here.
Aileen McNabb Coleman,
Present.
Robert Shea, Hans Petcher,
Here.
Mark Strong,
Here.
Heidi Nightingale,
Present.
Elaine Daly,
Here.
Tricia Kerr,
Here.
Christina Calarco,
Here.
Michael Didio,
Here.
Brian Muldrow,
Here.
David Gould.
She's already called you.
Okay, I just want to say here.
Okay, well, everybody please stand for the pledge. After the pledge of allegiance, a moment of prayer, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray for the people from Ukraine, please. Okay, everybody, thank you. Okay. Proclamations.
Owasco Chapter DAR Day in Cuga County, April 23rd, 2022. This has already been presented. Honoring the shortest St. Patrick's Day Parade in New York State, March 13th, 2022. That has already been presented. Donate Life Month in Cuga County, April 2020. Sue Dwyer, are you on?
I do not see that.
She was gonna read that proclamation from home, but apparently we can't get her. Yeah, could you read it, please? Thanks.
Donate Life Month in Cuga County, April 2022. Whereas through our membership with the New York State Association of Counties and the New York State Association of County Clerks, New York counties have come together to collectively support April as Donate Life Month. And whereas this observation pays tribute to organ and tissue donors and their families whose meaningful decisions enable others to receive life-saving organ or tissue, whereby a transplant not only improves the quality of life for the recipient, but in many cases can save a life. Whereas a single individual's donation of organs can save up to 8 lives, while a donation of tissue can enhance the lives of up to 75 others. Whereas nearly 99,700 New Yorkers are waiting for an organ transplant, and more than 1,600 have been waiting for 5 years or longer. Tragically, each year, at least 400 New Yorkers die while waiting for an organ transplant. And whereas only 40% of New York State residents are currently signed up to be an organ, eye, or tissue donor, and there are also tens of thousands of persons nationwide in need of bone, corneal, or other tissue transplant, with names adding to the waiting list every day. Whereas in Cuga County, 52% of eligible residents are currently signed up to be a donor, a higher than average number primarily due to the promotional efforts of our local Department of Motor Vehicle Office. Anyone can easily sign up to be an organ donor at our local DMV office, or they can use the online New York State Donate Life Registry, donatelife.newyork.gov/register. Now therefore be it that David Gould, Chairman of the Cuga County Legislature, does hereby proclaim April 2022 as Donate Life Month in Cuga County, and in doing so, we encourage all residents of Cuga County to enroll as an organ and tissue donor at our local DMV office.
Okay, anything you want to tell us about the rate in the world?
I presented a proclamation at the shortest St. Patrick's Day parade in New York State last weekend. I just happened to be there, so I kind of went on behalf of the county and celebrated that. Kind of a gimmick, but it got us on the map.
It did. I saw it on TV. It was great.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, presentations. We have 3 tonight. Jim Karasak is first. Jim from Arise.
I have my partner here.
That's all right.
A little bit lost tonight. It's not
What's his name?
her name. is
Her name.
Isabel.
I'm sorry.
Isabel.
Isabel?
Yep.
All right, great.
She's a falls prevention dog.
Great.
So I've got some really good news for ladies and gentlemen tonight. If you watch your monitors there, I'm going to talk about the ramp expansion that we started in 2021. Our program expectations were that we wanted to provide ramps in rural areas of Oswego County. So we took on the challenge that was originally started by the church, First United Methodist Church of Oswego. Their program run into roadblocks immediately after they built 3 or 4 ramps. They were inundated with calls and they did not have the personnel, the volunteers, or the funding. So Arise took the program with the intention of growing it. We have now grown the program in Oswego County that we do 35 to 40 ramps a year. About 20 of them are aluminum ramps and about 20 of them are permanent wooden ramps. For the most part, these are all done anywhere in Oswego County, all the way from Redfield, all the way down to the border with Onondaga County. So the demand that we found was that in Cayuga County and Madison County, once we become known, we were getting a lot of calls from this county, people that wanted to have a ramp. A few times in our careers, we snuck across the county line in the northern part of your county to do ramps for children that needed to be released from the hospital, but they had to have a ramp in order to be released. So we've done about 4 of them in this county over the years. We had one funder in Oswego County that said they didn't care where we spent the money. So we just kind of didn't announce ourselves, but we come over and did it. So the goal is to create a program that reflects what we do there. The history of it, as I said, came from First United Methodist Church. They have given us about 1/4 of their basement, which is an area about the size of this room. And it is set up with all of the material, jigs, brackets, sawhorses, tools to build these ramps. We build these in sections and then we take them out to the site and assemble them. So we call it the GPLL, Growing Pains and Lessons Learned. The value of a wooden ramp is that it's long-term sustainability and their actual construction projects. So it's 2 different groups of people that like to get involved in this with the volunteers. It's the people that show up with their drills and they're like, we're going to build. Then they got the people that show up with their drills and socket set and say, I only got an hour, let's do an aluminum ramp. The difference between the programs are the aluminum ramps are put up to get people out of rehab, nursing homes, and to get them home for hospice. They are short-term use. The intention is not for them to be there longer than a year. It's a very expensive program because aluminum ramps cost 4 times what a wooden one does, but the wooden ones are a permanent structure. So people that own their home, the situation dictates that they have it and use it for a long time. And again, with that, I think I kind of explained a little bit of that. The aluminum ramps take fewer volunteers. They're longer lasting. There's really not any maintenance on it. And they're 4 or 5 times more the cost of a wooden ramp. Here's an educational moment for you. That's marked as a ADA ramp. Speaks for itself. So we have awesome collaboration with different groups. Our outreach efforts have went with businesses. We go with the college. We have SUNY College. We have CITI BOCES. We always encourage people that are interested in order to come help us build a ramp. A lot of these are done as company team building exercises. Lowe's is on the one corner over there. That is a very, very big, complicated ramp. It come down, it turned, it went back, it turned, it went back, and then this is the end of it coming down. The house was on a hill, and she uses an electric chair, and it was the only way she could get in and out. The other team is Novellis. That particular home, the lady had not been out of her house for 3 years. When they finished the ramp, she came outside, It was starting to rain and she told her son to go get an umbrella. She was eating her lunch outside. She was not going back in that house until she was ready. Next. So this is CITI BOCES. They teamed up with some Army Reserve people and the instructors. And these kids are phenomenal. They build sections. Whenever we call them, they show up. And this is in the winter. And you know what winter is. We know what winter is. And we had hand warmers for them. Had lots of hot chocolate and donuts to entice them. And they stayed there and got the whole thing done. More awesome collaboration once again in the wintertime. This is a group of people that showed up and they actually had to shovel a section of the yard. This was a group from a VFW that did part of this. These groups here, again, one is CITI BOCES. They're also with Pathfinder Bank. And the other one is strictly Army Reserve. And again, this is Lowe's. Lowe's was working with SUNY students on this one. And the students also were involved in building sections. That's the picture to the left in the basement of the church. We have jigs where we can build 5x5 platforms and we can build 3x6 sections we put together. The amazing thing is over the period of time, we do not have to get permission from any codes office in the county of Oswego because all of our ramps are ADA without exception. We will wind it, we will turn it, we'll do whatever we got to do to get someone out of their house, but it will be ADA compliant. And we've done it enough years, all they do is say, call us and tell us where you're putting it. Again, this is a group that came together. This is a senior group. It also was a group that went and helped do sections. This is part of a program. They run an Excelsior program with SUNY Oswego, and this is part of that program. And they also have an internship program. They were just there a few days ago on a weekend, and they built 27 sections and 10 5x5 platforms in 4 hours. And none of them knew how to use a drill when they started. Again, this is another one. We like to show this because there's such a diversity group of people that get involved in this program, and they're very much engaged. When we make a call, we always seem to have people that show up and get the job done. This is another one that this was an emergency situation, and we made the call. And this was a group from a business, and CITI BOCES showed up and showed them how to put it together. And one more there, and I think this one was the Elk. Yeah, this is the Elks Lodge, who has, these are older pictures. They've built about 40 ramps for us year to date. And again, we usually just make the call. They ask where, when, they show up. This is part of the Excelsior program. These are all SUNY students. This is a summer program that they run. And we always end up with more people that we can actually use. This is Pathfinder Bank. And they use this as a team building exercise. We get probably about 7 or 8 different businesses that do that every year with us as a team building exercise. And the gentleman in the foreground is another person that could not leave his home on his own. He had to wait for the volunteer fire department to come and lift him in and out of his doorway. So we want to thank you for listening to this because we have an announcement to make. Hopefully. Oh, by the way, we just put our first ramp up in Cayuga. So a $35,000 grant. They gave it to me with a lot of rules, a lot of pushing and shoving, and we got the vendor to lower his price. Our first shipment is here. And that is our very first ramp that was put up. I did not get to participate in that because I was at NISEC. So I missed that one, but I guarantee you I'll be here for the second one, which is going up shortly. And the second half of that shipment will be arriving in about a week. So the program is in Cayuga County. It is geared more rural, and it is geared based off of OFA telling us who needs it. They'll do the screening and they'll get us involved and we'll get them up. That gives me time to show this program to other businesses and potential funders in this county so that we can make this a permanent program in Cayuga County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much on behalf of all of us here, because Arise does a great job. When I was chair of the United Way, we worked hand in hand, and it's a great organization and a lot of good for a lot of people. So we
Thank you.
really appreciate it.
And I do have an office here. So I'm committed once a week to come over here, and my business cards are with OFA. We gave you a pen on your desk so you won't forget us. They're not very expensive, so don't expect a lot out of them. But now you got our name. So thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome back anytime. There's a bell with you, okay?
That's usually the way it goes.
All right.
Dog invite, I come along.
Thank you, Jim. All right, our next presentation, Noel Siegel. Noel? It's Cuga County Community Solar Farm Project, which is quite a big project. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We're here tonight to give everybody an update on the solar happenings in the county, particularly the project that is now under construction just behind Soil and Water. I'm here tonight with my colleague, Andrew LaRocca. He's our Director of Operations. And I brought Andrew tonight because we're going to talk about the community solar aspect of the project and the launch of accepting enrollments into this energy savings program. That was a really important piece of the development of the project. 20% of the solar credits produced from the farm will go directly to the county buildings, but the other 80% is going to be available for residents and small businesses to sign up for the program. So with that, I wanted to share with you a very quick timetable here of how the project developed over the years and how we got to this point. Certainly did not happen overnight. It was a lot of work from our development partner, Abundant Solar Power, and from folks at the county. I'm just curious, by a show of hands, who in this room has worked on the project in the early years since 2016? If there's anyone who, all right, we got a couple hands. So thank you both for sticking with it throughout all that time. It takes a lot of work to get these projects into construction. So yeah, we can head off to the next slide. So this is going to be a memory jog for some people, but really quick, just want to give an overview of what community solar is. So typically when you build a solar project, you have to find someone to purchase the electricity, might be the utility, might be a municipality. New York has enabled community solar where we can build one large facility and residents can actually sign up to get energy credits at a discount from what they are paying the utility. It's a new vehicle that makes it possible for folks that don't have the funds or want to use the funds to put solar on their home to still benefit from solar growing throughout New York State. And the county project that's being built now and we're hoping to be done by midsummer is going to be just that, a community solar project. Next one. People ask us all the time, how can you get the electrons to get to my house? The simple answer is we don't have to worry about that. The utility accepts the power into the grid right on County House Road. And then every month we let the utility know who has signed up for the program and is going to be receiving that 10% discount on their bill. And we can always update that every month. If people are moving, then they can always leave the program month to month. But we don't have to control where the electrons go. It's just a counting exercise for the utility. Go to the next slide. Andrew will talk a bit more about the specifics of the program.
Great. So as Noah mentioned, I just wanted to point out a couple of things. So New York State has a goal to be 100% renewable by 2040. And programs like community solar can really help us get there. So if you think about some of the barriers that people who are interested in solar but unable to participate, it could be that they rent and their landlord won't let them put solar panels on their roof, or they don't want to incur the cost installing them on their own property. So community solar really lets customers take advantage of the benefits of solar without having to have the actual equipment on their property. My glasses. So some more details about the program. Anyone can participate, whether you're a homeowner, a renter, or a business. It's a guaranteed 10% discount savings with no upfront cost. So there is no cost to sign up for the program. Customers will not be charged until after they start seeing the benefits of the program, which is their solar credits at a discounted amount. Again, no rooftop or panels on their property is required. And customers can cancel at any time without penalties. The only stipulation there is for any credits that have already been allocated to the customer, they will be responsible for paying those credits that they're getting at a discount, but there's no penalty to cancel, there's no cost to enroll, and there's no upfront cost, meaning the customer won't get charged until after they start seeing the benefits of the program. Some more details about the program. It's a 10% discount, as I had mentioned. There is actually a website that we've created that is specific for customers of Cayuga County. For an incentive for enrolling in the program, everyone who enrolls will also receive a $50 gift card as a thank you for enrolling in the program.
Thanks, Andrew. This is a quick snapshot of the website that we set up. We haven't advertised this website yet. We wanted to share it with the legislature, see what everybody thinks. If you have any comments, we're happy to incorporate them. But just want to share the success that we have had with setting up this project-specific website. So your project is one of 4 that were part of that 2016 original RFP. So congratulations on that. There were many, many more that some are still in development, but it just speaks to the challenges that arise when you're trying to work on such a big endeavor. And we've had great success in the town of Skaneateles as well as neighboring Elbridge with setting up a specific municipal website like this and sending out a letter, something that we'll do on our end. We draft the letter for your review, and then we'll handle doing all the direct mail. And we also set up a phone number that's specific for residents within the county. So when they call our customer care center, we already know that this is someone who's calling specifically about the Cayuga County Complex project, and that's what they're interested in learning more about and enrolling in. Also, if people aren't savvy with the internet, they can call in and enroll on the phone. We get a few of those folks who say, I don't even have a smartphone, so I'll just give you my information. So that's fine too. Our goal here is to try and make it as easy as possible for people to learn about the program, get their questions answered, and hopefully ultimately enroll in the program. Yep. Yeah.
Are you ready?
Happy to start taking.
Ready for a Q&A? I'm curious about, you mentioned that, there's the accounting process that happens at NYSEG.
Mm-hmm.
I know that in what happens in that accounting process, which I think is a barrier for lower income folks who rely on the budget billing, is that once they enroll, the accounting process gets so backlogged that their budget billing doesn't show up, and then they get, where they might be paying $150 a month, all of a sudden they're not paying anything, the budget billing doesn't come up, and then they get smacked with $700. They call to find out, and the reason why that's happening, they say it's an accounting issue around the credits coming in and NYSEG, and they have not yet been able to figure out how to do this in a timely way. So it is a barrier for people who actually most need reduced energy, because those are the same people who are using budget billing. I wonder if you had any thoughts about that, have heard about this?
Absolutely. So with budget billing, that has been a challenge for folks, even when we were on a 2-bill program. So the best thing that has happened is that we've moved over to a single bill program. 2 years ago, if a customer signed up for a 10% savings, they would see a $100 credit on their utility bill. And then Solar Farms New York would send them a separate bill for $90. So then therein they would get their 10% savings. And that was a major barrier to entry because people didn't really want to worry about a second bill. You can set up auto pay and you can check it online. We have a portal, but we found that that was the most significant reason why people ultimately didn't want to enroll in the program. They didn't want to worry about a second bill. So this program is a single bill program, but there are two other things that you mentioned that are at play. With budget billing, I think that may still be a challenge if you are on that program because your bills may not be they may not continue to be consistent throughout the year. I'd have to get back to you on how the utility may have improved that. Andrew, you may be able to shed light on that, but I think we'll just have to revisit it because with the two bill program, we definitely were able to help get a lot more people on board because it was just it's going to be easier for them to manage. But budget billing, we do need to see what NYSEG is doing to hopefully help make it possible for customers that are specifically on that program to do community solar. In terms of the delays, NYSEG, we just had a call with the utility actually today. They've hired a lot more people, 20 more people over the last few months to ramp up the billing process. They have started sending out more communications on their end to customers to let them know you may get a bill every 2 months. You're still going to get your savings, but you may get a bill every 2 months. And they are working on automating the process for billing. And that's a back end challenge that NYSEG has right now. But they've given us a time frame of by the end of the year that it'll be automated. So we expect that next year, those issues of delayed bills hopefully will completely disappear. We've done a lot of work with the whole solar community and with the utility and the Public Service Commission to try and figure out how we can speed up the process and just communicate with customers that, NYSEG customers and members of the solar project that, this is when you should expect your next bill. So we're definitely working through it.
Great, thank you.
Happy to answer. Any other questions?
What is the 10% off of a person's bill? Monthly bill?
It won't cover taxes, but it will cover your supply and distribution charges. It's going to be 10% of the dollar amount we can allocate to the bill. So our target is always between 90 and 100% of those two total charges.
Trish, did you have your hand up?
Yes, thanks, Dave. Thank you for the presentation. I was just curious, do you anticipate all of the power that's being produced through this system to be utilized locally, or will there be power basically put into the grid as a surplus?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our goal is to keep it as local as possible. I know that most community solar projects do need to reach outside of the town or the city or maybe even the county that they're in. But the success that we've had in Skinny Atlas and Elbridge, hopefully, and that we're already actually having within the county in the city of Auburn has been really incredible. So the town of Skinny Atlas is operational and the project is 100% local residents of Skinny Atlas. Elbridge, we launched the campaign 2 weeks ago. We're at 83% as of this morning. So we're confident that 100% of the benefit will stay local. And even in the city of Auburn, I shared an update at the city council meeting, one week ago, and we already have 95 enrollees out of the about 700 So we're making strides, and we actually haven't even sent the letter out. It was just a newsletter electronically sent. So the support has been really incredible so far in Cayuga and the surrounding communities. So our goal is to hopefully have everyone who's enrolling in this project to be very local, to be within the county. And the letter that we'll send out will just be within the county. So I'm confident that we can do it.
Okay, any other questions? Jim?
If I heard that's right, so there's a limit of the number of people that can sign up for a particular solar farm or community solar farm. It'll only support so many customers, or?
That's right. Yeah, we can only, if we subscribe too many folks, then we won't hit that 90 to 100% that we want to offset on your bill. You know, we want to give whoever's signing up as much savings as possible. So we are limited by how much we're going to produce. But our company is operating about 30 other projects throughout the NYSEG territory. And we also have the City of Auburn project, which is also within the county and can support several hundred accounts as well. I'm estimating about 500 to 600 for the County House Road Complex project. So we do have a lot of capacity still. That'll be a good issue, I think, if we have a few hundred extra residents who sign up. But we have projects in surrounding counties, really focused in like the Ithaca area that are within NYSEG, and we could actually enroll, folks who are in Cayuga County to those projects, and we can get them the same 10% discount that we're offering to the community.
Yeah,
We'll just have to monitor it, as the letter goes out and see, what the capacity is.
So this is probably more of a broad brush question in the sense that how many acres does it take to service 500 people at 10%? What size is the solar farm that you're working on?
I think it's a total of about 30 acres here. That's how large the farm is.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions at all? Okay, thank you, Noel. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Next presentation, John Patterson, President, New York Farm Bureau. Overview of our Farm Bureau.
Thank you.
You're welcome, John.
I'm not the president of New York, just Cuga County Farm Bureau.
Well, you just got promoted.
I got some big shoes to fill with Rick Lockwood as the previous president. Thank you for having me. I'm John Patterson. I'm the sixth generation on my farm to farm here in Cuga County. My grandfather was on the legislature years ago, and I'm the current president of the Cuga County Farm Bureau. I'm here this evening to provide a brief overview of the Cuga County Farm Bureau and to extend my hand to invite you to our farm or to learn more about agriculture in our community. Today is the National Agriculture Day, and we recognize hardworking families that provide food and fiber for each of us every day. So according to the USDA Ag Census, Cuga County has 842 farms, 98% of which are family owned. The market value of those products is nearly $3 million. And 5% of the state's agricultural sales comes from the county. Cuga County is ranked second in the state for milk production, cattle, and some of the grains. We're fortunate to have Cuga Milk Ingredients as a growing value-added milk processing facility that sells product around the world. We have 225,204 acres of farmland, and about 80% of that farmland is used in crop production, of which about 20% use no-till practices and another 22% using reduced tillage and other practices to help protect soil erosion. About a fifth of the cropland is also incorporates cover crops. helps soil health and sequester nutrients in the soil. Our farms support the local tax base and provide hundreds of jobs and support many local businesses and suppliers. Agriculture is extremely important to the success of the local economy on top of the food that we produce. Cuga County Farm Bureau has joined with other organizations like the Northeast Dairy Producers, which I'm also on the board for, and American Dairy Association Northeast, and New York Animal Agriculture Coalition, our coalition called Partners for Healthy Watershed, where we've joined with other lake organizations to help educate people about what agriculture does to help protect the water in the state, in the county. We have been proactive in working with the county leaders, Cuga County Soil and Water Conservation District, Cooperative Extension of Cuga County, professional planners and engineers, work with farms on environmental management, and the Wasco Lake Watershed Association and area groups looking to improve water quality in the region. Many local farms have remained focused on continuous improvement for generations, including making huge strides in improving environmental stewardship. If I look back at what my grandfather's generation did, they used tillage to manage wheat in the fields. And we've been able to use chemistry, herbicides, and things to manage those weeds. So now we don't have to loosen the soil. So it has a lot better potential for water infiltration and less chance of runoff. So it's really helped us a lot by reducing the amount of erosion that we have from our farm fields. I know sometimes it looks like there's a lot, but what we were doing 50 years ago really loosened the soil up and allowed it anytime it rained to be carried off a lot faster. Many local farms have remained focused. I already said that. We have also engaged in community to host informational forums and farm tours, both in person and virtually, to help people learn about the exciting things happening in agriculture, including learning about extensive comprehensive nutrient management plan. I think my mom would come out and bring out our CAFO plan and set it out for people to look at. And it's a book this thick with everything in it, from soil types, pHs, soil samples, to maps of every field that we farm, and try to educate people to what it is, what all goes into that document that we are forced to manage from. And with your help, we'll be able to do more. Recently, Cuga County Farm Bureau was approached by Legislator Lydia Patty Raffini and asked to submit a proposal to the legislature to provide economic support for the farms. So Farm Bureau submitted appropriate for ARPA money to fund 3 projects. The first project is to upgrade the sewer system at the Cuga County Industrial Development Park in Aurelius. This will benefit 2 agricultural businesses there, the tenants in the park, and the funding would be provided to the Cuga County Economic Development Agency. The sewer system that's there just isn't, was built for a chip plant that they talked about years ago, and doesn't support the industries that are there now and needs to be upgraded. Cuga County farms have a strong commitment to environment and water quality. So our second proposal was to provide funding for Cuga County Soil and Water Conservation Districts to develop whole farm environmental plans for farms in Cuga County who don't currently have them. This would help anybody who has a crop farm or a smaller dairy or smaller animal farm to be able to manage and be able to meet the watershed rules and regulations that the Wasco Lake is looking to has proposed. The third proposal would be to provide funding for Cuga County Soil and Water Conservation District to implement best management practices on farm based on the whole farm plan. So we want to be able to have the money to get plans for farms that don't currently have them, and then we want to have some money to help implement those plans to help protect the waters. The third funding is a proactive step for local agriculture while also building water quality protection in the county. I would encourage you to have partners for healthy watersheds up to speak with you and learn more about what farms are doing to help protect the water quality. And I would invite any of you out to our farm to see what we do and see how we manage our lands. In addition, Cuga County Farm Bureau is asking the legislature to pass a resolution opposing the proposal for the New York State Farm Workers Wage Board to lower the overtime threshold to 240 from 60 hours. That's we have a huge potential for loss of agriculture in this community should that go forward, or if it doesn't go forward properly. More and more people that I've talked with about getting out of agriculture, and that scares me for where our food will be coming from. I don't think any of us want to be waiting for it to be coming off of a ship. Cuga County Farm Bureau has a longstanding policy on Native American land issues. We're offering our support to the legislature to oppose the Cuga Indian Nations Landed Trust application, Farm Bureau and Indian Affairs. Finally, I would like to invite you to visit our farms, and I'm sure that there's plenty of other farms that mine isn't one you want to see, or if you've seen it before, I'm sure we can set you up with somebody else that's closer. I entertain questions if anybody has anything.
Any questions at all? Anybody in the Trish, anything?
How'd you know, Dave? Well, I do have a comment and just I guess a question too. First of all, I appreciate this presentation and congratulations, John, on your new position for representation of Cuga County's farms. All of these needs are ones that I've been, well, with a few exceptions, things that I've been concerned about as well. The funding for planning and implementation on small farms related to the Owasco Lake watershed rules and regulations is something I think we definitely need to address at some point as a legislature. But I was curious if you've had any conversations, for instance, with Soil and Water Conservation District about the funding that they access or have access to. And I know there's a lot of new funding coming down the line that might help to offset some of these key initiatives that you're championing. So that was my main question.
Okay, yeah, I've talked with Doug about it, and there's just like anything, I think that he knows a lot more about it than I do, but waiting for money to come out of the state, things, it takes forever to get that funding, and things need to start, sooner we can make these things happen and get them to come to fruition, the better off we'll all be.
Okay. And just, I guess, a follow-up real quick. I was at the NISAC conference, New York State Association of Counties, and they did pick up and pass the resolution encouraging the overtime to stay at the 60 and not go down to the 40. So there is a resolution coming out of that body going to the legislature for consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trish. Any other questions? John, we appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
Aileen and I met with John and a few other farm owners probably a week and a half ago. We had a great conversation, and we're going to be meeting again
That's right.
very soon and then work in partnership.
Right. That's
We
what I
need our
really
farms
wanna-
in this county, that's for sure.
That's why I'm here today, is I really want to, be a partner in the county and be your who you call when you've got questions on agriculture, because it's a huge part of our community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yes, thanks. Maybe aging myself, but I grew up with all these farmers' parents. So tell them I said hi, will you, John?
Yep, for sure.
Thank you. Okay, privilege of the floor. Does anybody have anybody on privilege of the floor? Trish, did you have someone?
I do have someone, thank you. I would like to recognize Cindy Wilcox from Catalyst Cayuga, and also a Ledyard resident for privilege of the floor. I think I saw her in the room.
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Cindy Wilcox. I'm from the fine town of Ledyard, where many of the farms that John referenced are. I want to thank Chairman Gould and your fellow legislators for the opportunity to address you today. I am here to address you regarding the value of investing American Rescue Plan funds in Cayuga County's not-for-profit sector. I am the vice chair of Catalyst Cayuga. That's an organization that strengthens the sector through advocacy, collaboration, and capacity building. We used to be the Human Service Coalition of Cayuga County. According to data from CEDA, the not-for-profit sector employs almost 6,000 workers here in the county. 1/3 of the county's top employers, places like Unity House, Cayuga BOCES, Auburn Community Hospital, are not-for-profit organizations. They provide essential services such as health, education, social assistance, services that impact every county resident, regardless of income level. The not-for-profit sector is more than just an economic driver. It's an economic multiplier. When there is investment in programs such as childcare, education, job training, transportation, it gets people back to work. When there's investment in physical and mental health services and affordable housing, it stabilizes our workforce, reduces healthcare costs, and lowers county spending. From the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, the not-for-profit sector showed up. They did not hesitate. They showed unflinching resilience and commitment to the community when it was needed the most, and they continue to do so today, even in the midst of financial uncertainty and unprecedented labor scarcities. We believe that it's time to reinvest and restore the sector that has emerged as a critical and trusted county partner in their crisis and recovery response. If the county is going to maximize its economic recovery and support long-term fiscal health, we must balance investments in physical infrastructure with those in human infrastructure. Therefore, we respectfully request that the legislature set aside a significant portion of ARPA monies for the not-for-profit sector and develop a process in partnership with sector leaders on how to spend it. Setting aside funds will allow time for analysis, collaborative conversations, informed decision-making. It will provide time to cultivate partnerships with foundations and funders like the United Way that could multiply the impact of your investment. And it will provide opportunities to explore shared services, public and private partnerships, innovative service delivery models the result being taxpayer savings, less reliance on public assistance, and improved economic health and well-being for all county residents. Like a well-constructed building, communities require strong foundations. Long-term and unstable human infrastructure is expensive and it slows economic growth. Investing now will provide exponential returns well into the future. So on behalf of the almost 70 independent not-for-profit organizations in Cayuga County, I thank you in advance for investing in our community and propelling the county towards economic health and prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cindy. Any questions for Cindy at all? Trish?
No questions. I definitely echo the sentiments that she expressed, and I will continue to advocate that we take some funding and set it aside to look at the service delivery and nonprofit needs in the county. Everything's been shaken up through the pandemic, and there's a lot of opportunity to look right now creatively at how we're delivering services and the needs that we're addressing, to make sure that there's alignment and potential for cost savings too.
Thank you, Trish. Thank you very much, Cindy. We appreciate it.
Dave, I have one question.
Yes. Haley.
Is there any other communities that have done this? You're talking about a process that was developed in.
Yes. Yes. Well, I actually work in Tompkins County, and they are looking at a process in which, same thing, they've set aside funds, their ARPA funds for the not-for-profit sector. They are doing having some sort of a consulting group manage the process for the ledge, and basically reviewing proposals, kind of making those informed decisions, having those conversations, very similar to what we think might work in Cuga County.
A request for a proposal would come and a group would look at it. How essential is it to the needs of the community and those kind of things?
Yes, and make it really kind of data-driven based on the needs of the community, based on the data and information from the sector as well. We really think that the sector needs to be part of the conversation and the partnership. Sector providers know what they need, and they have a lot of great ideas for innovation and cost savings. So, yes.
And not doing this through a deficit funding initiative, but through new projects, innovation and project, et cetera.
Correct.
Jim?
Legislator Basile, two questions. One, the consulting group that's set up, is that made up of some of the people from the not-for-profit group, or is it a paid group?
Well, you mean in Tompkins County?
Yes.
Well, they haven't selected anybody yet. The RFP is out. The consulting firm would just manage the process. They would bring in stakeholders, legislators, perhaps, providers, funders, perhaps. They're still working out their process as well. But they already have set aside, I think it was about a third of their ARPA money to the nonprofits.
But you said they put out an RFP, so they're looking to hire somebody to manage that.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so they also understand that if money set aside it's a one-time deal. I mean, this is not, in perpetuity, the
Right.
ARPA funds, which is
Right, but it's, not-for-profit organizations are just like any other business. There's infrastructure needs, there's, technology needs, there's, planning needs. I think there's an opportunity, especially for these kind of funds, to use some of them, I think could be beneficial in kind of providing space and resources for looking at different ways to provide services and deliver services that could be more efficient and more effective for both taxpayers and for the people getting services. So
Your point was that if there's a one-time ask for a community-based organization, there's no expectation that the next year they come and get another.
correct.
Right. It's a one-time.
Right.
That's what you were getting at. I thought.
Yes.
It's a one-time deal, and I was just curious how they were managing it.
Right.
So some of that ARPA money is going to get spent to a consultant
Right.
in order to manage that process.
That model might not necessarily work here, and it might not be the one for us, but it is just one example.
Okay, anything else for Cindy? Thank you very much again, Cindy.
Thank you.
Anybody else privilege of the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I got a question. Are we
Yes, Andy.
having a public hearing tonight?
No,
Okay.
that's taken off. Thank you. Nothing. Oops, go ahead.
Minutes to approve February 22nd, 2022.
I make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Appointments and reappointments. There's a lot of them here. I'm sure you all have them in front of you.
Move to skip the reading.
Okay, is there a second for that?
Second.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, all passed. Thank you. Communications and announcements. There's none on here. Does anybody have anything? Okay, just let me make an announcement to the people that are sitting in the chairs here. You don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting if you don't want to. I used to sit there and say, oh, can I get up and go and leave this meeting? And do I make it for myself? If you want to go, feel free to get up and go, please.
Is that just?
Yeah. And the county attorney wants to go with you. But thank you all for coming, and I don't want to have you stay any longer than you need to. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Mr. Duran?
Yes.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Meet you. That's so funny. We've never had a Zoom, only phone calls.
Okay, everyone, let's get moving, please. All right, Cuga Community College report, Dr. Brian Durant. Brian?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good to be with you. I apologize for not being with you in February. I was away on vacation, but good to be back with you. Since January, we've been very busy in our spring semester as it moved along. I just want to take a quick moment and just acknowledge that the trustee with me tonight is Trustee Kerr and Legislator Kerr and many other hats Kerr. As she's with us, she's with me tonight, to support the college and represent the trustees as well as her constituencies. So, since in February, it was the conclusion of our 2021 audit presentation to our college trustees. And in February, the auditors presented a clean, unmodified opinion of the college's financials, including, an increase to the fund balance that, we worked very hard. And we're fortunate not only to, with the management of the funds throughout the 2021 year. Those that are unfamiliar, our fiscal year at the college runs September 1 through August. So this is really through the fiscal year that ended for us last August. We benefited similar to what you're also having conversations on with some of our HERF funds and CARES Act funds that we were able to recognize as lost revenue that ended up being an addition to our fund balance and helping us to manage current year and next year as well. But, the good news is the college continued to, I think, be in a strong financial position, even though the demographics and the shrinking enrollment and the other challenges that we've been facing are real. We know we're trying to balance, both as best that we can. We also have, been working through the final stages of the construction related to the Fulton Advanced Manufacturing Institute. Some supply chain issues at this point to, have that project become final and open. But, we're staying positive. We recognize the world's in a complex place, and we're just trying to, get it to a point where we can, begin recruitment and have confidence that it'll be open in the summer and the fall, which we believe that it will be, completed here within the next month or so. But we were really hoping that would be a January completion, but we're just waiting on a couple of items. They're minor, but they're important. I guess small in size, but important in value as we are closing out that particular project. I think also, thanks to the work of the county attorney's office and, others, we closed and transferred property related to the additional adjacent city lots for our child care center and our capital projects that you had previously approved. I believe back, we've done multiple child care projects. That one was actually related probably back in fall 20, not to be confused with the one in 21 that we also talked about. But in addition to those, we've been working on finalizing the design, which we're close, and the approvals, which I believe as of late last week we've received, to move forward in breaking ground, if you will, on the renovation of the, Workforce Development Center, formerly known as the Cornell Cooperative Extension Building, that is going to move forward as approximately a $3.5 million renovation. All funds have been secured thanks to you. thanks to private donors, thanks to grants that we've received, and certainly thanks to the gift of the property itself and the matching of SUNY. We know it's been many years talked about through the pandemic and through other, factors of securing the funding. It is something that our trustees and I are excited to be able to finally move forward. I'm hopeful that we'll put out to bid as early as April, at some point in April, to be able to begin construction, this summer. And we anticipate that to be a year plus construction timeline, depending on, supply chain and other realities as we move forward. But it's an exciting time for us because we're going to be able to move forward. In addition, we made the announcement over the last month that we will be holding our annual commencement exercise at Falcon Park, the home of our athletic fields and home of an amazing community asset. And we're excited about this, not just to be able to have an outdoor ceremony, I'll hope for good weather, but also it's our first commencement exercise in 3 years at this point in person, that we're going to be able to have a celebration for the students that they deserve. And we're really looking forward to be able to have it. The reason why we chose Falcon Park was, one, to leverage a community asset and an asset that we rent and take great pride in as a college, but also because we were hopeful at the time and continue to be that, that'll give the best, the safest and healthiest environment being outdoors for students and guests and other participants. So we look forward to that event in mid-May at the end of our spring 22 semester. A couple of other housekeeping items. This is our main advocacy time to the state as we're developing our next year's budget. We know that there has been great conversation through county associations and leaders across the state and elected officials on, on SUNY, on community colleges, and really, setting, really matching sort of, I think, the aspirational tones that were laid out through the state address from our governor. And we're looking forward to continuing to advocate, really as a community college, and if you're asked, to stabilize the funding for state aid. And the main way we talk about that and the language that we use is to, continue establishing a floor. And the floor, in essence, means a maintenance of effort from the previous year funding. I know that some of you are maybe a little bit less familiar than others with how we're funded. And, we'll do a work session with you, Chair Gould, I'll talk to you. And, I know that Trustee Kerr and I have talked about this, trying to, have sessions to bring the legislature up to speed on all the different nuance with the college and so on. And that's an area we will. But when we're looking at for next year, the floor is really a maintenance of effort, because typically from the state, the way that we are funded as a college is a per FTE model. That's a formula. And in essence, if you're, losing enrollment, you're losing funding. But it's the formula is a little more complicated than just enrollment, because enrollment at the state level is an FTE, which is a generation of credits, not a number of people. And so what we're looking at here is to have the predictability of a stabilized floor funding, which allows us to know that another aspect of our budget would be really set in stone and anticipated. We're looking for it to be established back at the pre-pandemic level, which allows us as a community college to do a number of things. Most important, which aligns, I think, with our community aspirations, which aligns with our college's vision and mission, is to have that predictability of funding so we can ensure that our programs stay in place, add new programs, and being able to look for, innovative ways to support workforce demands and trying to be as responsive or proactive as possible in the areas of workforce development. And so this is something that we know has been well received. We're in the last few weeks of advocacy, and we're going to continue to advocate for that floor funding to give us this, to stabilize us as best we can, to continue to move forward. And what we're also hoping to do if we get that funding is to be able to keep tuition increase to a minimal amount. Our budget will be cut this year again overall, and we'll be good financial stewards when we present it to you, and likely asking for an increase of funding. But the big piece of this equation and puzzle is to get this floor from the state, stabilize that state aid for us, and to be able to minimize the impacts on students as we move forward. But that presentation will come forth in May, and I look forward to talking with you about that. So, in addition to the state aid advocacy piece, I'll just finish with, I'm asking for your support tonight and resolutions within your packet through the Government Ops Committee. I know our CFO, Marie, came through, and that resolution is about reallocating sort of a modified capital project request that you've already approved. What this is really allowing us to do in a simplified way is to use some of our HERF funds to be able to upgrade some of the HVAC on the Auburn campus and air quality on the Auburn campus. And this is just a creative way that's allowable for us to, maximize some resources, address a major capital need of the institution, and to be able to take other capital funds we've received and again, stretch them even further, because we have millions and millions of dollars of critical maintenance on our campus to address and to upgrade. And this is just a way for us to keep inching forward and addressing the needs that we know are so plentiful. I'd be happy to answer any questions. That concludes my report.
Anybody for Dr. Duran? Yes, Lydia.
Hi, thank you. This is Lydia, legislator for District 3. Are experimental use vaccines still a requirement for attendance?
Yes. So where we are right now and continue to be is that the SUNY policy that students who are enrolled in an on-campus course or experience, athletics, a club, work study perhaps, is required to be fully vaccinated in order to be eligible to do that. We understand where the world is. We understand that things continue to be looked at, but as a SUNY school, that is an area that we have to be compliant with, and that it continues to be the rule.
Chairman?
Yes.
Is there a plan to accommodate folks? I share concerns with some of my fellow legislators and many in my community who are trying every day to keep the outflow of the people in our county down to a minimum. And if we don't have community college, unfortunately, we're going to be losing more folks, especially the youth, which is a group that we are fighting even harder to keep within not only our county, but our state. So is there a plan to accommodate the folks who we want to keep in this area and have them learn here?
Yeah, are you asking that in relation to the vaccine or just in general?
No, to the experimental use vaccines
Yeah.
specific.
Yes, so we have made significant investment over the last year and a half in IT infrastructure that provides more enhanced opportunities for synchronous instruction from a distance and for students to be able to have the convenience of being, like this, being in a live meeting, a live lecture, live class, some being in class, some perhaps being from a distance. That reduces a barrier and provides a little bit more of a traditional learning experience, even though they may not be in a physical classroom. We also have looked to provide enhanced services to support students from a distance. And, as a college, we historically have had a significant portion of our courses online anyway. It was always a part of who we are and who we will be. The synchronous aspect has been, I think, it's gained significant leaps and bounds since the pandemic has been here. Moving forward, I agree this continues to be a concern related to, keeping youth engaged and keeping them here. We are finding that we are continuing to get a very similar percentage of our high school graduates enrolling in the college, which shows a consistency, but we're also finding that the high school classes are shrinking. I actually saw some data today I don't know the source, and I usually don't like to give out data without the source, that projects, in 10 years from now, the classes, the high school graduates might be down another 100 plus, in our county here, and in our service area, it could be a few hundred plus. That's not a great sign when it comes to enrollment stability from our baseline and student demographics. But, other than building convenience, building robust programming, looking at other different things, and certainly we know that others are advocating with the state on where, what the requirements will be moving forward, what it'll look like moving forward, because we do not want to provide more barriers for students for education. But at this point, as a SUNY school, we want to advocate, but we also have a responsibility to be compliant.
So just to be clear, I'm sorry.
No, it's right.
A person who has not been infected with the experimental use vaccine can attend Cuga Community College online, is that correct?
Yes, they can attend online. They can take care of they can enroll in services online, tutoring services, counseling services. We have tried to build as many services as possible from a distance, so that way a student can still have the same access and the same tools that an in-person student has, even if they may not be able to be on campus.
And I appreciate that very much because, and I quote you, losing enrollment and losing funding is an extreme concern. We can't afford to lose any more in our county. So thank you very much for that.
I appreciate the question.
Andy first.
Yeah, I'm just curious, are all the employees, do they have to be vaccinated?
So the current state of the employees is that if you are, it is not required currently. There are labor implications that have to be looked at for that particular mandate. I will tell you that those with on-campus obligations, at least in the winter when I checked, the last time I checked specifically, I was told that we were 95+% vaccinated as an employee base with on-campus obligations. But at the college, it's still required that if you are not vaccinated, you must wear a mask and you must do weekly surveillance testing in order to be compliant with our employee policy in order to be able to be there. So even though it may not be required, they're still required to participate in surveillance testing. And by the way, those of us that are vaccinated or fully boosted are continuing to test monthly as well. And of course, masks are optional at this point. But our employee base, it's not required. However, if you're not vaccinated, there are requirements that you must adhere to be compliant with our employee policies and SUNY policy.
Okay, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, Brian Muldrow, District 15. I have two questions for you. Just curious. As far as enrollment, is it pre-pandemic and after pandemic, is it down dramatically? And how is enrollment compared to SUNY schools your size? It's
yeah, no, it's a great question. And we'll show you these charts when we come and do our budget. The college's enrollment, really since about 2011, each year, other than maybe one or two, has been in a decline. And that's been a very common thing across the state. In fact, I think an average, you can quote me on this, but I'm prefacing it with it. And, I believe at one point there was articles across the state that indicated that SUNY enrollment community colleges over the last 5 or 6 years was down 30 to 35% on average by the campuses. And much of that related, people speculate, to demographics, unapproved economy in some spaces. If we would agree on that sentiment or not, I don't know. But I think in general, there has been a decline. We at the college, since the pandemic, have seen a significant decline in a similar lane as everyone else, to be honest. But what we're also seeing, and this is one of our realities, and I know that we're working on this, is that early on in the pandemic, you had a number of learners who had to switch from face-to-face to online and perhaps enrolled in a way that they didn't want to begin with or to be comfortable with. And some of the completion rates and some of the, success rates, if you will, we're also slightly down, which impacts retention and then impacts enrollment on the sort of non-new student, if you will, which is a big piece of overall enrollment as well. So we have concerns, certainly, there's one thing to provide access, and people love access, enrolling courses online, enrolling in courses that are convenient and reducing the barrier of travel and gas and balancing family lives. But we also have to, try to ensure that, some individuals, some workers, just like me, I'm more productive in a space and in my office and all that too. I think in general, we've seen some impacts to that because learners are learning in ways they didn't want to. So that's why I'm really looking forward to the future as we have a better balance of both offerings. So that way learners can have the choice and hopefully access the supports to get our success rates going in the right direction. As for enrollment this year, though, I mean, one positive morsel related to that is we are on pace to exceed our enrollment goal for this year. Although we're still down in enrollment, it's just came in better than we anticipated. So, it's just being honest with each other about where it is. And trust me, I wish enrollment was stable. I'm not even looking for it to grow at this point, but we have to figure out ways to, to look at the high school graduates and much of it goes back to our workforce development endeavors, right? We need to be able to attract citizens into education, to training, to credentials, to other opportunities that the workforce that the employers will value to try to help retrain and train citizens for current work with current opportunities, and to help not only that individual, but to help our companies stabilize too, as there are employee issues across the area. So I think it's a community opportunity for aspiration, but it's also a real area of attention I think we all need to put our energy into.
Can I ask a follow-up question? If is the majority of the people coming or children or students coming to Cuga local students?
Great question. So, we typically would look at that and say, 85% of our students that enroll with us are typically within a 40-minute range of our campuses in Fulton and Auburn. We do have and have had, even before the pandemic, some population exclusively online, some from, out of state, perhaps some from, other areas further away, because we have such robust offerings online. But when it comes to our matriculated student, our base enrollment is dominantly within about 45 minutes from either the main campus here in Auburn or our branch campus in Fulton.
So you said earlier that it was roughly about 30% of a decline year after year in enrollment.
No, I'm sorry. That's a great, no, thanks. Thank you for letting me clarify. I'm talking about 35% or so over a 5-year period of time.
Okay, so has that decline stayed steady during the pandemic? Like, did you notice a spike in the decline? Obviously, we shut down for a period, but how much can you contribute to, after we got up and running, to maybe people that didn't want to get the vaccine, or so can you give some numbers on that, or the matrix roughly about the same with the steadily decline?
I think our capture rates from our school areas was kind of similar, but where we did see a decline was in our retention rates, and I think it was about 5% drop just in our retention rates from fall to fall during the pandemic, and that in and of itself can be a significant drop.
And how many students you have online percentage wise?
Well, in a pre-pandemic world, I would typically have said to you approximately 35 to 40% of our students all take at least one online class or so. And I would just tell you that I would put the number in a pre-pandemic world that about 35% of our courses enrollment comes from online. But most of those students in the pre-pandemic were taking a couple courses online, some courses in person. Over the last 2 years, I would say that probably 60 to 75% of our courses have been either fully online or hybrid. And that's been, so that's, you can see right there is a much different, distribution of courses. And part of that was because of the health and safety protocols. Part of that was like last year, for example, there was a time where, online just made sense because of the way that, for us, we couldn't offer classes in person with 4 or 5 individuals in them. The overhead for the staffing and the faculty versus the revenue would be difficult. That's why we built up the hybrids. But maximizing online was a decision that we made early on for health and safety, and students are taking advantage of it. This year, we've tried to balance. Next fall, we're looking to go back, a little bit further into more of a balanced way and a hybrid way. So we're looking to keep building up the vibrancy back on campus. But honestly, what it was before may never be what it is again. As we look at the modern higher education and what it's going to be in this sort of post-pandemic world with how students enroll with community colleges, there's a lot yet to be determined. And the best we can do is, really try to offer balanced offerings and advise students very intentionally and directly for what's best for them, and then really be able to, move as it goes.
Do you have an average amount of enrollment? Like I know I think you have 4 sessions. So what is your enrollment each session?
Well, when we talk about enrollment, we typically talk about our head count. And when it comes to, say, a fall semester as a baseline, I believe our last fall semester overall head count was about 4,500 students. But we generally talk in the world of FTE, and it'll be easier when I do a budget presentation. Now that I'm hearing some of these questions, we'll look to address them in the budget presentations for what it means and how it usually looks by term. Because if I told you, for example, that, well, in our high schools, we're targeting to have 550 FTE, and in our summer, we're looking to have 160 FTE. Those numbers will be very meaningless in the sense of what it actually tells the story on the individual students we serve. But I will make sure we put a demographic slide or 2 into our budget presentation to be able to not only provide that for you, but then you can have it at your fingertips.
And only thing, I would be curious because Lydia brings up a good point, but I would like to see that number, because if you look at the 5%, it's really not a lot of students, if that's an accurate number. That might have, because you did more like those, looks like a lot of those students made the opt to go online. So it makes you feel good that you're actually serving the community and keeping people here. We don't know if they're here, but hopefully they're still here. So thank you.
Yeah. It is a lot when you're talking about 5% though, because that 5% for us, we talked about predictability and budget. The only amount of money in a $27 million budget that is not directly related to enrollment is the $3 million that the county of Cuga and our sponsorship provides us. So the other 24 million is a direct factor of any of those other pieces. And so 5% loss of FTE enrollment, that's FTE is 30 credit hours. So times the 5% of the number, that for us can actually result in few $100,000 loss of revenue, and few $100,000 loss of revenue can be a threat for us to have the number of programs we have, the services in place, staffing decisions, just like you all have in your own responsibility, right? It's just part of the reality that at the end of the day, I try to keep it very simple for everyone. I can only predict within the modeling that we've built at Cuga over the last 7 years since I've been here, what our realistic expectations can be in revenue, and our expenses have to match those. And so living within that means, and being responsive to the community, and being as comprehensive as we all want to be proud of, that's where our challenge lies. But that's where being creative, partnering with people, and doing the best that we can do to serve our community is what we've done. That's what our record shows, and that's what we're going to do. And one of our biggest partners is you, and I can't wait to be working with you on it.
Thank you.
Just quickly, Dr. Durant, this is Heidi Nightingale.
Hi, Heidi.
And, as you may know, I work on your campus as a partner with SUNY Empire State College. Yeah. And, I'm part of your email system adjunct for you as well. So I know that one of the interesting things that I have found innovative that you and your staff are doing are the regular meetings where you're looking at changing demographics and going post-COVID and moving forward. And how to respond to that responsibly, to provide the all kinds of forms of education and opportunities for all students, those who might want to be completely virtual, those who might want hybrid, those who might need and want to be in class all the time, but also taking a careful look at what's, I know that your faculty are involved in these conversations in a very scholarly academic way, looking at this across the nation. Even pre-COVID, changes in the way students want to study. Across the age demographics as well. So you're staying abreast in a scholarly way as to how to best meet the educational needs of students from post-high school to returning to education after a period of absence or never having started a degree until adulthood. And I've appreciated the emails and the work that your faculty and administration is doing in preparing for what that all might be looking like statistically, and then how you drill down the stats and turn it into the reality of educational programming.
Oh, I appreciate that. I should have you to set up my advocacy for me. They do it better than I do. Yeah, I really do believe, since you'll indulge me for a second, I really do believe it's important that having knowledge of the world of higher education beyond our universe here at Cayuga is important. And I think that it serves our students well. I think it's sort of inspiring and positive for us as a college to be thinking and talking that way, listening to each other, and having these conversations about not just what students want, but what we as educators think is what's best, and how do you wed the two, and then match employer demands and match community visioning. It's a big piece of what we try to reinforce in lots of non-threatening ways, and we want it to be just a natural fabric. And I appreciate you noticing that. That's really a great sort of passive compliment, because it's something that we do work hard on, to just say, let's elevate our thinking and perspective. And then that way, when we do our work here, it's going to feel a little bit more calibrated.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else, sir? Mr. Durant? Okay, Mr. President, thank you very, very much. And I think I can speak for my fellow legislators. We're very lucky to have you as our college president. We appreciate it, Brian.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Right. Okay, committee reports and individual legislators' reports. Any at all? Chairman's report. I'll be short because this is going to be a long night for us, so I'll be short. And anybody that knows me knows I always like to say thank you to people, and there's a few of them here too. I want to thank all our department heads and their staff for all the hard work they do day in and day out. And I'll probably say that as long as I'm sitting in this chair. I'll say it every month. Thank you to my fellow legislators for all their hard work and cooperation, to our leadership team, and working at both caucuses working together. I really appreciate it. Our ARPA program, American Rescue Plan, everybody knows what it is. There's been a lot of hard work done. I think the caucuses have done a great job. There will be a resolution tonight with several agreements on it and requests on it. And there probably will be for the next several months. We'll probably have some more. County office building project. Our vendors have done a great job. I just got an email today. They're almost done. They're going to start interviewing the department heads very quickly and getting some more information. And we should be getting a report from them, I would think, in a few weeks. Form of government. We had a great presentation last night by legislator Chris Palermo. Chris Petras. Thanks, Chris.
If you want to give me a law degree,
It was you did a great job. I think there was a lot of questions and a lot of information you shared with us, and we really appreciate it. It's not an easy thing to do, and I appreciate that. Redistricting, great presentation by election board, Katie Lacey and Cheryl Harry. They did a great job presenting maps to us. That decision will be being made pretty quickly because we have to have it done by August. Thank everyone in the county for their patience during this pandemic. It's been up and down for 2.5 years now, and I appreciate everything that everybody's done for it. I want to thank all the individuals who volunteer for the county-sponsored boards and committees. And there's a lot of them, as you see. This is only part of them on this agenda tonight. There's none of them are paid positions, and I appreciate all the legislators that are on these boards. No one that I asked said no, or everyone that I asked, no one said no. And I appreciate it because you don't get a lot of credit for it. And it's a lot of time spent. And in closing, I just want to thank the city of Auburn, the mayor, the manager, the council for being cooperative. We've met a couple times now and we're continuing to meet. And I want to thank them all. Okay, let's move on to resolutions. Ways and Means, Hans?
Mr. Chairman, Ways and Means has two regular resolutions and two more to follow. I'd like to do them one at a time. So I'd like to move WM one.
Okay, is there a motion for WM1?
Move it.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed.
WM two, please.
Move it.
Second?
Second, Mark.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed.
Okay, now we have two irregular motions. We discussed them at Ways and Means quickly. And basically, the legal staff, because of the failure or the company failing to renew the contract for, foreclosure, we need to do something different. And to do that, we need to transfer $50,000 from the treasurer's legal account to the legal department's account. So it's basically a transfer of the money, which pays for the new company or the company doing the work for the time being till we get a new lawyer on board. Any questions?
Move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Just for your information, that'll be WM3, everybody.
Okay, and we have one more.
WM4.
Which is basically fixing another public hearing. This will be so we can dispose of the property that we own in Onondaga County.
Move it, Petrus.
Water line at one time.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Here too, Hans. Is that on our desk as well?
It's just a resolution for the public hearing.
Number 4, right?
Yeah, that'll be number 4, but they're not marked number on here because they're brand new. So that'll be number 4, Ways and Means 4.
Establishing a public hearing. It's that one.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. Thank you, Hans. Elaine, Health and Human Services.
Yes, Health and Human Services had 15 resolutions this month. They went through Health and Human Services Committee. I understand they made it their way through the Ways and Means Committee with some discussion on a couple of them, but unless anyone wants them, one of them broke out, I would offer them up as a bundle, HH1 through HH15.
Motion.
Move it.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. Thank you, Elaine. Government Ops, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Government Operations has 5 resolutions. Well, all 5 resolutions have been through both committees. Were supported in both committees. I would offer them as a bundle.
Yeah, move it.
Second?
Second, Mark.
Any discussion? Not all in favor? Any opposed? Passed. Planning, I know you have none, but you had a great meeting. It was nice to meet. So, thank you, Eileen. Public Works, Andy.
Public Works has 5. I'd like to bundle 2 through 5 because number 1, we got to do a 2/3 vote.
Okay, we got WP2.
Second, Petrus. Or move it, Petrus.
Second,
Second, Mark.
in discussion. If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed.
All right, number 1 is just amending 2 previous 197-21 and 256-21. So we need to have a 2/3 required vote for that.
How do you want to, just by hands?
Yeah, if everybody's all in favor.
Yeah, all in favor, just raise your hand, please.
Well, I'll move it, right? Don't wait.
Oh,
Yeah,
we got it.
motion it first.
Second, sorry. Second,
I'll second.
any discussion? Okay, all in favor, just raise your hand, please. Okay, that's certainly 2/3.
Thank you.
Thank you, that's passed. Thank you, Andy. Judicial and Public Safety, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. JPS has 6 resolutions tonight. All have passed through both committees. I would offer them up as a bundle unless anyone like any of them singled out.
I'll move it. Gailey?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one other item, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
I would like to thank Mr. Courier from the EMO office for using available grant money to pay for the bulletproof vest for the sheriff's department, resulting in an ARPA monies savings of $31,492.25. Thank you, Mr. Courier.
Yep. Thank you very much, Dale. We appreciate that. Okay, Ledge 1, the Cuga County Legislature supports the people of Ukraine and condemns the actions of the Russian Federation against Ukraine. Motion. Second,
Second, Mark.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. It's a great resolution. I wish we could send it over to Russia. Thank you very much, everyone. It'll be motion for adjourn.
Executive session.
Yeah, we gotta go into executive session. Sorry. Anybody, we're gonna have it right in here. It's a lot easier because, can we?
No. it needs
Gotta
to
go
be
in there?
caucus room
All
one,
right,
yeah.
all right. All right, caucus room 1, everyone.
Can we just get a motion to go in?
Motion.
Second,
Training.
all in favor? Yeah, it's for no, it's not for a contract. It's for a holiday that we need to discuss and a grant.
It is.
Contract negotiation, okay.
Is a grant like a holiday? This one I got it.
The department heads certainly do not need to stay, okay? If you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even.
Can you use the 8x8 link that I sent you? You're in the Zoom one.
Okay.
This is the Ledge meeting, so they're in the 8x8. I'm not sure if you're in that one as well, or.
Hi, this is Pete Jones. Are you talking to me? You want me to use the 8x8?
Yeah, use the 8x8, Pete. This is the Zoom, like the Ledge meeting. So you go
Understood.
to use the 8x8, they're in the caucus room 1 now.
Thank you.
Yep.
to come out of executive session. Thank you, everyone.
I'm opposed.
Thanks so much, everybody.
You're excited about leaving.
I didn't even sit down. Guys, who made the motion to adjourn the meeting?
I did. Oh, no.
Lydia and Hans. Lydia and Hans.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.